Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance President and CEO Brittany Lamont is a visible and consistent voice and advocate for the business, nonprofit, and civic communities in the Sarasota Manatee market. The Business Observer writes often about leaders like Brittany online and in print. To read those and other stories like that, subscribe to the Business Observer. Go to businessobserverfl.com to sign up. Hello and welcome to the Business Observers from the Corner Office podcast. I'm Mark Gordon, managing editor of the Business Observer. Today's guest is Brittany Lamont, CEO of the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. Brittany, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me.
Excellent. Great. Well, you and I have known each other quite a while. I was thinking about it. I think it goes all the way back to when you were in the Business Observer's 40 Under 40 issue, and I interviewed you for a story on that when you worked for the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, that was like 2017.
Yeah, so, and I probably knew even a little bit before then. But all right, so we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about the Business Alliance and all the amazing things happening there. Before we get into that, Brittany, let's let our audience get to know you a little bit better with 3 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What is one food or drink that you would take with you to a deserted island?
Fountain Coke.
Fountain Coke. It's got to be Fountain Coke.
Yeah. Don't waste calories on a bottle.
Yeah, got it. What would your walk-up song be? You're introduced at a Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance event. Hey, come on down, Brittany Lamont. What song is playing?
Gangster's Paradise by Coolio, man. I am in my Hyundai Palisade jamming out like I'm living a tough life, but really I'm pulling up to the car line. I listen to that before like every big event. It's like my hype song. I know.
It is. Wow. All right. I love it. Crank that on the Willis Elementary.
Yes.
Car line. Your kids will love it. Awesome. Okay, last rapid fire question. Who is one person, dead or alive, that you would love to have dinner with?
My grandpa Cook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a staple in my life. And I would love to have dinner with him and tell him how amazing all of his grandchildren turned out and all the great things that we did since his passing.
When did he pass away?
Right before I got married in 2009. Wow, that's so sad that I couldn't be here.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's sweet. All right, excellent. Well, moving on to some more serious topics, work and leadership topics. Business Alliance. Tell us a little bit, for those who don't know, what is the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance?
Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, we're the Chamber of Commerce in Lakewood Ranch. So we're a business membership organization. We've got about 750 businesses who invest in the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. And we provide connection opportunities, education, engagement. We do a lot in the public policy space. So advocating for our businesses out here in Lakewood Ranch, whether it's at the county level, the state level. We just started doing a yearly DC fly-in trip. So, it's our job to be the voice of business and make sure that they're being represented.
Yes, and full disclosure, I should say I was on the board of the Business Alliance for 3 years and term ended, but it's grown 750. When I was on the board, it was more in the 600s. So you guys have continued to grow, it sounds like, and reach out to the Lakewood Ranch business community.
Yeah, especially as Lakewood Ranch grows. I mean, the growth is so large out here, and so we're seeing so many more businesses who want to come to the area.
And tell us about your career. We mentioned the Sarasota Chamber. I believe you got into chamber type work right after college, after USF. Is that right?
I did, yes. So my kind of backstory, I was born in Ohio. My family moved when I was 2 to Bradenton. So I was raised in Bradenton, went to school in Manatee County, and then I was at USF finishing my degree at the Sarasota Manatee campus. And I had a professor, Professor Curran, who was doing some work with the Sarasota Chamber. And so he asked if anyone was interested in an internship. And I love to tell this story because nobody knew what a Chamber of Commerce was, but I knew because a neighbor of mine worked at the Manatee Chamber growing up. So I at least somewhat knew what a chamber was. So got on board with the Sarasota Chamber as a marketing intern. And then 12 years later, worked my way through a lot of different positions in communications, marketing, membership, and then I was VP there before I came out here to Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. So my entire career has been chambers of commerce and supporting businesses locally.
That's excellent. Wow, that's obviously consistent, and obviously you love it because people could see your passion for it. If you know Brittany and you've seen her speak, you certainly know her passion for chambers and businesses. And on that front, you get to be around these business owners, business leaders, executives, CEOs. What, Brittany, are some of the things that you've learned about leadership from watching and working with these CEOs?
I always tell people I feel like in a way professionally I was raised by the business community. Sometimes
Yeah,
folks will ask, how do you feel having a new chairman every year or technically I guess a new boss? But to me it's such an opportunity. I feel like every business leader that I've worked with, and this is all the way back in my early career when Steve Cuiar hired me, as an intern, and some of my early chairmen at the Sarasota Chamber with Rick Piccolo and Sean Merriman, and my time now at the Alliance with Dave Otterness and, Allison and Julie and all of them, they've all kind of left a piece of them and they all have an expertise. Last year, my chairman, Dave Otterness, he was such an operations guy and helped us move into our new building. And Julie Fanning, my current chair, is big on marketing. So every year I've really tried to absorb as much as I can from that leader in many assets, whether it's knowledge in accounting and in marketing, or if it's just their leadership style. So I think that's probably one of the greatest things about our industry and being able to work in a chamber of commerce is to have access to some of the
yeah.
biggest and brightest minds in Sarasota. And they're all so willing to give their time to kind of help raise the next generation. So I hope when someone looks at me as a leader, they see little pieces of a lot of great people who got me here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so, on that leadership point, what are some characteristics of good leaders and good leadership that you admire or emulate or that you've seen work? What are good leadership characteristics to you?
I like to consider myself a servant leader. I mean, I think that's important, rolling up your sleeves and doing the work with your
Yeah,
team. I also feel like this is a shift in leadership as we look at our employees as a whole, especially in the family space. Mark, I'm really passionate about access to childcare and a family-friendly
sure.
workplace and supporting women in the workplace. And, I've had the opportunity to work for leaders who helped me along my journey and having 3 children. I mean, I tell the Alliance all the time, you literally hired me when I was pregnant with my 3rd kid. Like if that does
Yes.
not say our organization believes in women leaders, I don't know what does. So I
Yeah.
tried to really apply that to my own team and just supporting them the best I can, and really trying to be a servant leader with them.
Yeah, servant leadership. Let's talk about that for a little bit. What you guys, I know from just knowing the Alliance, then being on the board, and then continuing to observe and go to Alliance events, it's a small but mighty team at the Business Alliance. And so there's a lot of hat wearing and all that type of leadership. What does servant leadership mean to you, though? Tell us about some of the things that are examples of servant
Mhm.
leadership.
We are a small team, like you mentioned. And so a lot of it is really supporting the team and getting my hands dirty. I mean, if we're all putting
Yeah.
down programs at an event or schlepping tables, that's what we're doing. But I think, when you have a small team, it's also understanding like what makes them tick. What is important for them? Do they have the tools and the resources that they need? We've this year committed to a bit of a health challenge at our office. So every month we've had a different challenge, whether it's who's closing their rings the most on their Apple Watch or steps or distance, and just cheering people on as well of like what is their personal goals. I have a staff person
Yeah.
getting married this year. I have a staff person wanting to change their health. And like we're a team, let's do it. Let's do it together and support each
Yeah.
other inside and outside. And in
Yeah.
a organization like ours where you're doing early morning breakfast and we're putting up a trade show at the end of the night, I really do try to work with the team on their work-life balance. We have a great remote schedule here and flexible
Yeah.
work environment. I tell my team, like, work where you're working best, but we have such a devoted crew who are just here to make the alliance the best that they can. And I want to see them in this role. And if it ends up being a future role in another organization, like how can we prepare them for that? Because I had such great leaders and mentors in my career who asked me where I wanted to be 5 years and helped me get there. So I really try to impact my team the same way.
To help them get there. And let's take a step back, because I have insider knowledge because of the 3 years I was on the board and going to your office once a month. And there was always a bowl of candy on that top desk when you walked in, is because there were Andy's Mints, and who doesn't love Andy's Mints? But tell us, is the candy still there, A? And then B, tell us about this health challenge with your team. I like that. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the candy is there. And if you go in the kitchen, there's even more. There's always snacks. We are a snacking team. Like during our event season, it's so funny because Janeth from my team, and she'll tell you this. Yes. I keep them fueled and fed. That's what I say. It's like, what do we need?
Fueled and fed.
What do we need to get through? But this health challenge was just, what I realized is I had some teammates who all had a similar goal for different reasons. We were all wanting to be the best physical version of ourselves that we could be. And you spend so much time in the office with these folks. And so it's like, let's motivate each other. And I'm not going to lie, in the chamber world, people love to bring you treats, and there's bread at every luncheon and there's appetizers. And so we all just kind of band together and we're like, let's enjoy the great things, but let's also help each other stay moving. So it's been fun. There is some serious office banter that has happened to keep each other motivated. So we love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Good for you. Good for you guys and the team. You mentioned mentors before. Who have been one or two mentors in your life, and what have you learned from them?
So two things I would like to talk about quickly here. One, for most of my entire career, I have had such an important mentor and friend in my life. And you know him, Kevin Cooper. He is the big brother that I never was blessed to have, but I think if I would have had, it would have been just like him. I'm such an emotional leader, and he is such a data-driven individual. I call him for advice. And, when I think maybe I'm going to act out of emotion, I talk it through with him. He was my CEO at the Sarasota Chamber. He helped get my job here. He's been a really important mentor in my life. And so definitely Kevin Cooper. But the second and straying maybe a little bit from your question was the importance of a tribe in leadership. And so I have found, while I've had great mentors, it has been so helpful to have people just around you. I have a great crew of ladies, my women in leadership crew, and we just unapologetically support each other and cheer each other on. And so I think whatever field you're in, whatever stage you are in your life, find your people. And I've just been really blessed to have my lifelong OG friends, to my Burn Boot Camp friends, to my women in leadership. And I think it is so important to lean on other people and to let other people lean on you and just show up.
That's so important. I think the tribe is so important to have that group. I think I've seen your women in leadership, your tribe in action. I believe at a polo club event and other places. You guys make yourselves known when you're out and about. It's like 7 or 8 other women business leaders, right?
It is, yeah. And we kind of found each other, and we're just like, hey, I'm going to support you. You're going to support me. I'm going to be the shoulder you need, and we keep each other accountable. And if somebody's, receiving an award or at an event, like, we're there to support them. Yeah. And that's been great. More women should support women. And we're all going through, that is a band of very powerful women who all have the same struggles and insecurities that everybody else has.
Right. Moms and different things.
Absolutely.
You guys. Yeah. And Kevin's a really great example. Kevin with Moat. Kevin Cooper with Moat now, and he was in the chamber. I think that's a really good point, because Kevin seems to me to be, when you said you're on more on the emotional side, he was in the military, so he's much more straight and narrow focus. I could see how you guys click on those things. I bet he learned from you.
I do, and I'd like to think I've taught him a few things along the way too, on the more the emotional side, but I agree. I call them like Kevin euphemisms in my mind of like the things that he'll tell me. And I, a lot of times will think of those as I'm making decisions myself.
I remember an interview once with Kevin where he said to me that sometimes what we think are big problems are really just what is happening, as opposed to like a big problem you could solve in that 1 minute. And that's a good way of thinking about it.
He'll also tell you don't respond to an email until the next day. Don't be emotional. Don't react.
Really? So have you adhered? I mean, do you listen to that advice?
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of things, how to present to a board, just different things that funny enough, I was actually presenting our retention numbers to the board and he sits on my board. And after I asked him, I was like, give me your feedback. Like, what do you think? And it meant so much. He was like, I'm really proud of you, the way you brought them along and how you presented. And a lot of it was because things that he had taught me. I mean, he's a fabulous presenter. And I've been fortunate. I mean, there have been so many people in my life who've given me those little tips. A lot of the coworkers that I had at Sarasota Chamber, the leaders, Steve and Heather and Amy. And I mean, the list goes on of people who really just poured into me, Maria. And I so appreciate them. And I hope I'm doing a good job pouring into the folks that I can help.
Yeah. You mentioned feedback, as a leader, how do you sort of take and accept feedback? How do you get separate your ego from the feedback? Because, you're still the boss and you got to get out there and do this. And people are going to maybe give feedback that might not be what you agree with. So how do you separate your ego from feedback as a leader?
Pretty early in my career, like it's business. And if people are giving you feedback, they care. If they're not giving you feedback, then they don't. They're just going to go tell someone else how it wasn't a good idea or it wasn't a good presentation. Like somebody's going to come up to you and in the right intention, truly give you feedback. Like you're a little bit of a fool not to take it and accept it. And I think one thing I really pride myself on is trying to check my ego at the door. Like they didn't hire me for this role because I'm a commercial real estate agent or I'm a CPA or I'm an attorney. I rely on those folks that are around me. I have such a strong executive committee and board, and I utilize their expertise any way that I can. They know more about their lane than I do. So why not use that to my ability? I mean, I say all the time, I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm just there to convene the smartest people in the room.
Yeah.
And that has served me very well, and not thinking I can do everything and my way is always best. And I feel the same way about the team. Like if you've got a better way to do it, please tell me. My way is not always better. Yeah.
So important to lead that way. All right, Brittany, so we're coming up toward, summer, middle of summer here. What can we look forward to for the Business Alliance? What is new and exciting the rest of 2025 for the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance?
Yeah, so we'll kick back up with our busy fall events. We will bring back our Alliance Gives Back, which you're very familiar with, Mark. It is one of our big volunteer initiatives. We deployed about 350 volunteers into the market last time to volunteer at our local nonprofit. So we will do that and we'll award members. We're working on some things this year to prepare for the third year of our strategic plan. So we're working on our state accreditation, working on some new membership things. So I'm really excited. Our crew's going to head back to DC and we'll have our Tallahassee trip. So we've got a few public policies, initiative things coming up, and we'll really just prep for it will be a busy event season. So we're excited.
A lot happening. Excellent. Brittany Lamont, CEO of the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. Thank you for joining us on the From the Corner Office podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark.
Thank you for listening to the Business Observer From the Corner Office podcast. I'm your host, Mark Gordy. This podcast was produced by Reed Corley of the Corley Company in Sarasota. To hear more episodes of From the Corner Office podcast, go to businessobserverfl.com.